Alright, we are doing a late night session. Shrouded in darkness. I've turned my camera off to hopefully increase the potency of the internets.
Yeah. Internet's potency. Doing it in dark.
Anyway, last time Lester and Claudia ventured into the town of Aquaria. Do you remember what happened? You went to an orphanage and you chatted with the mayor, I believe.
Yeah, and there was some weird goings on in the orphanage. Some sedated children and weird headmaster, and now we're in the tavern meeting with Tarion. What's his name?
Tyron. Tyron. The pronunciation is very, very key.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're in the tavern right now. You can see Tyron, your boy Tyron, right here. He's his daytime job is basically cleaning crap off the ground, and so he bumbles about to where you are, and he's like, "Oh, Master Lester and Mistress Claudia, so glad that you found your way to the Troglodyte's Toe," which is the name of the tavern. He's got a broom and he's cleaning up the place, and he trips over a chair and nearly breaks his leg. He's like, "Oh my God, sorry. Let me introduce you to the owners of the place." And one of the guys here, a man working the bar, he comes over and around the bar table and he says, "No need, Tyron, get back to work before you hurt yourself." And so Tyron goes, and there's a barmaid over here, and he takes some drinks from her, and you can see some other denizens of the bar actually. Over here, you can see a man and a woman, looks like a couple, and they're talking quite excitedly at a table in the front. And then if you look up near the upper right part of the bar here, you can see another man and a woman, elderly, sitting in the far corner, and they're in a heated discussion as well. Interestingly enough, the old guy here in the hood, you know him. That is Wander the Wizard.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not William, it's not
Okay.
Wally. Wally's dead, unfortunately. But that is Wander the Wizard. He appears to be chatting with someone. He hasn't seen you yet. So yeah, it's a friendly inn, and the innkeeper, one of the owners of the establishment here, he comes up to you and says, "Greetings! My name's Marvin. I help run the place, along with my husband Mondo, and welcome to the Troglodyte's Toe. I see you've already made the acquaintance of our overly excitable employee, Tyron. He told us all about you and said that you would be here. Room and board is on the house. My name's Marvin once again, and I want just as much as anyone to see this mystery solved. I too used to be an orphan under Hortense Brunscomb's care."
Yeah. So I would take it that you're afflicted by the nightmares as well?
Oh yeah, she's popped up in my dreams, the old lady. Never dreamed about her before, but she has, and she's warned me of crazy stuff going on in the orphanage. Can't say I make heads or tails of it though.
We just came from there. It seemed seemed weird. We get a very weird vibe from there.
"Not exactly the friendliest place in the world," says Claudia. Claudia actually goes up to the bar. She's like, "I'm gonna get me a drink. You want some alcohol, Lester?"
Yeah, probably. After that trip to the orphanage, probably need something to numb my brain.
Tyron's like, "Oh, the best thing in the world is a nice alcoholic beverage, sir, just to calm the guts, so to speak." Marvin's got quite a few different things behind the bar. He's got your standard variety of ales, whiskey, wine, so on and so forth. Claudia orders a whiskey. She's like, "I would like something hard on the rocks in a nice big glass." And then Marvin starts pouring. Claudia's like, "Make it a double or a triple, perhaps." And so he pours until she finally says, "Stop!" And the glass is mostly full. And then he dunks a huge ice cube into it, and it kind of spills over on the sides, and Claudia takes it and says, "Thank you very much," and then she just starts downing it, and she's like, oh, Makes me warm and tingly on the inside. Marvin looks to you and is like, so what can I get you, Mr. LeFoe, right?
Yeah,
Already started coughing and you ain't even started drinking, Lester.
Yeah. What do you have on tap tonight?
I got some of the finest, well, I wouldn't really call it finest. It's frankly kind of mediocre. It's the Aquarian specialty called the sheep's tit. Don't ask me. I didn't name it, but it's mead. It'll get you through the night.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Is that the main? Is that the main local favorite?
There's also the horse's hoof, but if you got to choose between the two, the sheep's tit has a bit of a tangy taste to it that is popular.
All right, I'll take one of those.
So he pours you a frothy cup of this stuff, and then if you put it to your lips, I would say that the real-world equivalent would be like Budweiser Light.
Quality.
Drinking them tits, Lester. This is what they do in the countryside. I told you that the city was a better place. That's why I moved out there. At least in the city, they don't name their bloody alcohols tits. There's also a barmaid, by the way. And she goes up behind you and she's like, if you would like a table and a proper meal, then just shout and holler. And she goes about serving.
Why don't we get something to eat?
All right.
Let's come or something.
So the innkeeper points out. He says, "Well, any table's open. You know, there's no intense crowd of customers tonight."
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. I mean, we're happy to pay for it. It's not a big deal.
Marvin hollers from the bar and says, "Oh no, I can't make you pay for this. You guys are here to solve a problem. It's on the house. Just hopefully you can solve it promptly." And so he goes over behind the bar, and so there's another guy over here. It's his partner Mondo, and Mondo is carrying a huge pork roast. And so he comes out from behind the bar and then delivers a hunking head of pork onto your table right here and says, "Greetings, friends. Hope you enjoy, steaming hot right from the oven. Welcome to the Troglodyte's Toe. I am Mondo, and I help run the inn/tavern here with Marvin, the finest night spot in all of Aquaria we are, though I can't say we have much competition. Tehran, get our guests the proper cutlery." And Tehran's like, "Oh, automatically, at once, good sir!" And then he stumbles and crashes behind the door to the bar and he's stumbling through the knives and plates back. He almost cuts himself, and then he brings you the necessary cutlery. The barmaid carries your glasses that you guys ordered and plops them down on the table. And Mondo over here is like, "Yep, if you need anything, Marvin and me will be behind the bar. Hope the pork roast is to your liking." And then he goes back into the kitchen. Tehran's like, "Yeah, and I'm around too if you need anything as well." And then he stumbles past the barmaid and spills a little bit and then has to clean it up. And the barmaid whispers to you as she passes. She's like, "Don't mind him, good sir. He's got the attention deficit disorder disease." And then she goes off and is cleaning the bar. These two patrons in the table next to you, a man and a woman. One of them, the man, he turns behind and quite loudly slams his tankard of ale on the table and says, "Hey, bar boy, this tastes like piss water. Get me a refill." Tehran's like, "Automatically, sir!" And he grabs the drink, stumbles off, and fiddles behind the bar, and then gets them back a refill, and then looks very sweaty and perturbed, and rumbles about. He has to refill barrels and do all this stuff. So as he's doing this, you guys are eating, and feel free to chat and talk and plan your next move.
Okay.
Tehran appears to be not exactly the most dexterous bar boy.
Yeah, he seems to be a bit of a spaz.
I do believe the word you're looking for, Lester, is a bit of a putz. But,
That's a little bit harsh, I think.
well, I don't know, Lester. I used to grow up with boys like that, and when they weren't trying to get in my pants, they were spilling beer over me. I got no patience for the lads.
Yeah, the kid's brother seems kind of like a putz.
Oh, him too, yeah. Yeah, all these country boy types. Not my thing, Lester. I prefer the gentle bastards of the city. Like you, Lester LeFoe. Sorry, I know you pay me. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that out loud.
Yes, well, thank you. His brother, I would refer to as a bro.
Ah, yeah, a bro, a lad. Those types are always up to no good, just whipping out their dongs in public in front of a maiden and then expecting to get what they want.
And they do most of the time.
It's a good thing that our gracious King Darian enacted a nice old conservatism policy in the capital. Yeah, minus his whole nightlife activities with the gigolos and his private female guard and all that. Anyways, cheers, Lester.
Cheers.
You drink your Budweiser Light. She's drinking her whiskey, and the pork roast is quite delicious. I think you're both at full HP anyway, so you don't need a refill. Let's see what your HP is.
Claudia, I think I've got a case of the bronchitis.
Oh, you're at 22 hit points, so I'll go and make that 25.
Oh, okay.
I've marked that on your character sheet. Yep, you're at 25 HP right now, you're at full, and I think Claudia's the same. Alright.
Yeah.
So you have a refreshing dinner, and you notice that these other patrons in the table behind you, the guy is particularly loud, and he seems to be muttering about something to the woman next to him. They look like a couple. And
how do I look? Is there a way I can look at the picture?
Oh, you have to talk with them first. That way,
Oh,
I'll show you their character sheet. But if you zoom in, you can see them closer.
You can sort of see.
Yeah, if you zoom in on using the menus, the slider on the upper right.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You can zoom in.
Interesting looking couple. You got this guy wearing a fur coat with no shirt.
Yeah.
And this other. Can't really see what her outfit is.
Yeah, if you zoom in, you should be able to see.
Yeah.
I think a little bit. If you'd like to, you can try to determine something about them just from eavesdropping.
Eavesdropping. I can determine that she has huge cans. But that's about all I can determine. Oh, my internet is kind of slow. All right, here we go. And I can see.
Yeah.
I think I did. Okay. Yeah. What was it called? The eye for deceit.
Well, here, take a look at your character sheet.
Eye for detail. No.
You don't really need to use that right now. You can just look at your skills on the left and let's see. If you
Survival, stealth, performance, perception.
Yeah, you can either make a perception check to try to eavesdrop,
or insight.
Or an insight. Yeah, you're both. You both have a proficiency bonus in those, so you get a +3 to whatever
Insight and
you roll.
perception. Actually, what's the difference? Insight.
Perception would basically
Perception probably would be the one, right?
Perception would be like what you see. Insight is what you can like determine about their character based on the way they move. So insight would be a little deeper, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's do insight.
Okay, roll me a d20 and you get to add a 3 to it.
Okay.
No, very good, 19. Okay, so you can overhear them chattering, and the man wearing the fur coat says to the woman next to him, "You know, Sybil, this town is just as crappy as I remember. I'm glad I left when I was 13. But here I am back again, and I've got to figure out what's going on around this place. It's just that the orphanage is all screwed up, and I don't trust that dude running it, and, you know, the dreams have been weird lately. Something fishy is going on." And the woman says, well, Quentin, it's your hometown. I'm just here to keep you company. Whatever your choice is, I'll go along with it. And the guy says, damn right you will. And then he takes a long drink and says, bar boy, get me another. And then Tayron comes bumbling over and gets him another. You can perceive that the guy is extremely boisterous, and based on his talk, he seems to have lived in Aquaria sometime in the past. The woman appears to be his partner, or girlfriend, or traveling companion. And generally seems to be the more soft-spoken of the two. And she does have a huge pair of cans. Claudia's looking at them jealously and says, Lester, I never met a woman with such big boobs that was trustworthy. I don't like her. Just based on principle. She forces her fork into the pork roast and chews on it discontentedly.
Maybe we should... Well, so you're saying, Claudia, we shouldn't invite them to join us?
You can do what you want, Lester. If you want to stare at those pair of cans, then I'm not going to be the one to stop you. And she shoves her fork angrily into the pork roast and
I'm just kidding. I tease it.
No, it's all right, Lester. You do what you want to do. If you want to be bedazzled by a pair of tits bigger than someone's head, then go right ahead.
No, I've got what I need right here.
I don't care. I'm going to the bar.
I got a sheep's tit.
You have your tits, Lester. You have all types of tits. Bartender, get me more whiskey. The barmaid pours her another glass of whiskey, and then Claudia takes another drink. And then eyes the big-titted woman from across the bar with discontented eyebrows.
Well, this is probably not going to go over terribly well. Actually, I'm not actually that concerned about those guys. I'm actually curious about the wizards, the wizard over here.
Yeah, they're chatting. They're having a rigorous intellectual discussion, it seems.
Yeah. So I know. Do I know the wizard?
Yeah, you know, it's Wander.
I know.
It's Wander the wizard. Yeah, so you know William, and you know Wander, and you briefly met Wally before his passing.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, you can go over and talk with him.
I'm gonna go over and talk with him.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Let me zoom up here for a second.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, so they turn to you, and then Wander the wizard lets out a laugh of surprise when he sees your face. He's like, Lester, my boy, what are you doing here? I can't believe it. Who would have thought?
Yeah, fancy finding you here.
Yeah, it's just Lester. This is the middle of nowhere. Why are you here? Oh, Lester, let me introduce you. This is Giselle. The woman is a bespectacled lady. She's wearing a massive pack full of scrolls and books. And she's, oddly enough, holding a tree branch as kind of like a book holder, and she's just surrounded by thick books. They look like magic tomes or just spell books of some kind. So she looks up at you, adjusts her eyeglass, and says, Oh, Lester. Well, I'm Giselle. You can call me Giselle the bookkeeper. Very nice to meet you. I presume you know Wander here?
Yes, yeah, we've crossed paths a number of times before.
Wander says, me and the wizards, King Darian's wizards, we used to know Lester's father, Mortimer LeFoe. He was a magnificent bastard, I believe is the right combination of words. Wouldn't you say, Lester?
Yeah, that's about right.
So, Lester, I got a magical mail from William the other night. He said something about some ruckus going on in the castle recently. For Immortality Day. You see, I've been at a meeting of the World's Wizards Association for the last couple days, and Giselle and I are actually returning from that. And I had a few more vacation days left this year, so I decided to stop by the countryside, because Giselle is on a great quest, so to speak. She's trying to improve literacy in the countryside.
Wow.
Giselle looks up at you and says, Lester, literacy in these countryside towns, absolutely barbaric. These people cannot read anything, and so I've been trying to spread a little bit of educational know-how, donating books to the, well, this place doesn't even have a library. It's absolutely barbaric, but I figured I might donate some books to the local pub, because it seems that this is where people hang out. And I've left some books of mine with a shopkeeper in town, and so... Anyway, I came here, and then Wanda decided to join me, and quaint little town, isn't it?
Yeah. We're here on business. We got pulled to do a case here after taking care of some nasty business in the capital. Actually, that was probably what William was referring to with the king.
Yeah, says Wanda. He mentioned something about King Darian getting almost killed, but you know, King Darian is quote-unquote immortal. We think it's kind of a load of crock. But wait, he almost got attacked? I don't really... I kind of... kind of lost track of the message, because William wrote it in a code that we wizards use, but I've kind of forgotten how to read the code. But something about him getting attacked?
Yeah, it's sort of a long story.
Is he okay? Does he need me to hurry back and wipe his ass for him? What happened?
Oh boy, it's a long story. You can read about it in the papers, but I can give you the short gist of it.
I never read the paper, Lester, my boy. Full of fake news these days. That Timothy shit's just writing articles about nothing. But anyway, you're here now. I'm sure I'll hear. I'm on vacation. I'll hear about the king's bullshit when I get back to the castle. Anyway,
that's sort of what it was.
Lester.
It was a bunch of shit. Actually. The king is fine, but he there was an attempt on his life. Let's just put it that way. But he's fine.
But he's good. Am I correct?
He's good.
Okay,
he's good.
It doesn't matter.
Good.
Hey, let's sit and drink this piss water that they pass for beer in the countries. It tastes awful.
Did you get the sheep's tit?
I got the sheep's tit, yes, and it is the worst tit I have ever tasted in my life. Sorry, Giselle, because Giselle looks at him and gives him a nasty glare. Giselle repeats to herself, positively barbaric, and shakes her head.
Yeah. Well,
So what kind of business?
We're here investigating these nightmares that have been afflicting a number of former orphans of this town.
Yeah, I heard about it, says Wanda. The innkeepers, they mentioned something, Marvin and Mondo. They said Marvin says he was having some weird dreams, and he's the one that was the former orphan. Don't know, it sounds strange to me. So maybe it's probably this piss water they drink. It gives them, makes them unable to sleep at night.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a very odd thing, and from what we've heard, everybody who's been afflicted with it is a former orphan, and the orphanage, however, is much different than the way it apparently was at the time when most people remember it.
Yeah, it's got some new guy. He made it all fancy with rugs and chairs and chandeliers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never trust those fancy types. And what's he doing here running an orphanage for one?
I don't know. So yeah, so there's that, and then it seems like the former headmaster is coming back in the people's nightmares, saying that there's something bad going to happen in the town. So the young sir over here, who is delivering the drinks and so forth, he found us in the city and asked us to come investigate, see if we can make some headway.
Tehran is juggling plates of food, and he's carrying them over to the young couple over here, as you discussed with the wizards. More of Mondo's delicious pot roast and some stew on the side.
Yeah. Um, so that's what brings us here. We just came from the orphanage. We had which is very weird. We had a very sort of trying trip over here.
Oh,
Um,
ran into some ruckus on the road, eh? They say the
yeah,
barbarians.
some barbarians.
Barbarians are getting shisty lately.
Yeah.
Well, I'll still be here for a couple of days along with Giselle. If you have any questions or need our help, we'd be happy to offer a hand. Giselle nods at you and says, "You know, Lester, this town is quite interesting. It is barbaric, but it is interesting, and you said it was strange, Wanda, that a rich man would come and take over the orphanage here, but it wouldn't be the first time that a town like Aquaria has seen a strange visitor. You've heard about Geartinker, right?"
Geartinker.
Now, actually, if you remember this thing...
It's the toy, right?
Yeah, remember this? You saw this toy owned by the boy Alexander in the inn. A really cool robot that could backflip and walk on its own. On the bottom of its left foot there was a label which read, "Constructed by Geartinker." So I take it you haven't heard about Geartinker?
A little bit, not really though.
Ah, well, what do you know? Says Wander. We can educate you, said Giselle.
All I know is that he made some interesting toys.
Giselle nods and says, "Well, he did more than that," and she ruffles in her big bag. She pulls out a ton of books and then thumbs through them one by one, trying to figure out which one's the right one, and then she finally finds a history book, it seems, of the countryside surrounding Tartec and all the various little towns that populate the countryside. And then she points to one passage and then opens it to you and says, "Geartinker was this person here." I'll show this to you. Check it out. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's a passage called "The Tragedy of Geartinker," and so you can see a man here, a man with a beard fiddling with tools, right? And then if you scroll down, I'll read it. It says, "The man known as Geartinker was many things: a brilliant inventor, a well-loved toy maker, and a fellow who lived and breathed machines. But above all else, he was an orphan. Born in the Tartec territory of Vindabar, Geartinker never knew his father, and his mother passed away from illness when he was a boy. In Vindabar, a land of religious devotion, most orphan children end up joining the Church of Creation. But Geartinker fell in with a different sort, the Inventors Guild. There, he quickly developed dexterity with machines, and soon he made a living designing all manner of complicated contraptions, eventually earning the namesake that quickly made everyone forget his birth name. As he grew older, Geartinker began gravitating towards designing toys. His marvelous wind-up creatures soon became the rage amongst children in Vindabar, and perhaps remembering his own childhood as a sad orphan, Geartinker began a pilgrimage to travel all across the continent, visiting every orphanage he could find in order to give his toys to impoverished children. In his 60th year, Geartinker visited an orphanage filled with disabled children, many of them missing limbs. One of the children had lost both of his legs in an accident and dreamed of flying in the sky like a dragon, and this inspired Geartinker to construct his ultimate project and what he saw as the greatest toy of all. Dubbed the Clockwork Dragon, this was a massive mechanical beast that mimicked all of the capabilities of an actual dragon, including flight and the ability to breathe fire. The robotic creation could be controlled by a team of 20 who would sit inside the beast's belly and pull levers and dials to maneuver it. And Geartinker's dream was that he could take the group of orphans on wondrous joyrides through the sky. Geartinker was wary that such an impressive toy could also be used as a weapon by terrorists and scoundrels, however, so he made a formal request at a meeting of the World Wizards Association. Touched by his devotion, the wizards magically enchanted the Clockwork Dragon so that it could only be operated by Tartec orphans. Unfortunately, it appears that this enchantment may have been incomplete, for unknown individuals still managed to steal control of the Clockwork Dragon 9 years ago, and it has been missing ever since. Rumors indicate that it was last seen crashing into a mountain range in the heights of the Wildlands, but its remains have yet to be found. Crushed at the loss of his creation, Geartinker died of a broken heart at the age of 79.
Oh.
It's a very sad story, says Wander. Indeed, said Giselle, and Geartinker, he apparently passed through Aquaria. It was one of the towns he visited, spreading his toys. Presumably this is before he tried to make that clockwork dragon and somebody stole it.
Who do you think would have stolen something like that?
Oh, I don't know, says Wander, but I'm guessing terrorists or, I don't know, people that might have wanted to take control of it and rain hell upon Tartec. I mean, you do know, Lester, Tartec's got so many enemies, and King Darian's recent political decisions have not exactly made things much better. The Nevens and, problems in the other territories, and I don't know, but I never met Geartinker, actually. I was during that particular meeting of the World Wizards Association when a group of my colleagues enchanted the clockwork dragon. I was suffering from the gout. I couldn't get out of bed. I was there, says Giselle. Geartinker was a strange fellow. He preferred the company of children more than adults, and I thought he might be a pedophile, but he was innocent at heart, and he really had no malicious quality to him. He really just loved kids, and he bashed together all these gears and bits of iron and made this gigantic mechanical dragon, and the thing could fly and breathe fire. I have no idea how he did it, and unfortunately, someone managed to steal it, even though, to the best of my knowledge, we enchanted it. The enchantment was pretty strong. It was blessed by a group of wizards. This thing can only be used by Tartec orphans. So, I don't know. Wander says, and maybe it was a Tartec orphan that grew up and tried to kill King Darian. Who knows? The thing, wherever it is lost somewhere in the Wildlands.
How big was it? How big was the dragon?
Oh, it was big, says Giselle. It was, she stretches her hands wide out. It was basically about the size of a small house.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, so think, I guess think like Voltron size.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was controlled by as the book entry says, it was controlled by a team of 20 who actually sat inside and then pulled levers and stuff. So yeah, kind of like Voltron.
And it actually would fly.
Yeah, he did manage to create some kind of engine in it that gave it some capability of flight, says Giselle. And it had a lever in it, and so it breathed fire, and we actually did not think that this was particularly good, especially because he wanted children to take it on rides. It's a bit dangerous, but he said that if he didn't give it the ability to breathe fire, no child would want to ride in it. It would be a faulty dragon.
Yeah.
So... well, it sounds pretty damn cool, in my opinion, says Wander. I would, maybe someone just took it out on a joyride and then lost control and crashed it into the mountain. Kids. God, they're probably some drunken couple just sat in the thing and then lost control and fornicating in the driver's seat, and then boom, next thing you know, it's this bloody mess in the mountain. Probably killed a group of barbarians on the way down. Oh,
God. Well, I saw his name on a toy actually in the orphanage. It was like a little robotic person.
Yeah, and actually, if you remember that toy, I believe you talked with so actually, I forgot to show you this. I'll show you this right now. So here, this is the little girl, Rosella.
Oh, yeah.
14-year-old Rosella is currently the oldest child in Aquaria's orphanage and is tasked with some minor duties like watching over the younger boys and girls and cleaning the building's newly remodeled floors. She can often be seen cradling the helmet of her dead mother, Valenice, who was a former Tartec soldier who had some knowledge of magic at her disposal. Her mother's dead now. Yeah. She is protective of her younger brother Alexander and is quite frightened of the mysterious events going on in the orphanage in the evening hours. You can see, yeah, that's her mother's helmet that she's holding. Let me show you her brother, Alexander. Yes, here's Alexander, Rosella's 10-year-old younger brother. Him and his sister, strangely enough, are the only children in Aquaria's orphanage who are vaguely normal, while everyone else seems glassy-eyed and unresponsive. What's going on here? So if you remember from last time, yeah, these were the only two normal ones, and you actually questioned both of them, and they both seemed very nervous because they didn't want to really say anything while those people were watching, the caretakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, although you did manage to get something out of Rosella. Do you remember? You were able to mouth read something that she said right before you left.
We're gonna meet her.
Yeah. She said something about meeting at the cemetery in the morning, 7 a.m. Yeah. So right now it's evening. It's probably like 9 p.m. Yeah. And also, yeah, so Alexander was the kid that had the toy, the wind-up walker toy, and you asked both Rosella and Alexander about it, and Rosella actually bought it off of the innkeeper, the Marvin guy.
Wind-up walker?
Yeah. Yeah, it used to belong.
Yeah.
It used to belong to Marvin, but then Alexander.
You ask him about it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And so now you know that it was made by some guy, some inventor named Geartinker, and it was, I guess, one of his smaller creations. He was apparently capable of much bigger. So Giselle takes that book. You can look at any of these handouts again on the. I think you have a side panel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can read them at any time again when you want to. But so she takes the book and then puts it back into her bag and says, "Well, Lester, I've got plenty of tomes of knowledge in here, in case you want to know anything about the wide world beyond the city."
Might come in handy.
Yeah. She's got books on the, like, you can see some of the spines of the books in her bag. She's got books on the wildlands. She's actually got books on the barbarians as well. Those are the ones that kind of spines you can read. She has books on something called fairy circles as well.
Fairy circles. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any of those books? Any of those books give you any information about nightmares?
She leafs through her bag and says, "Well, I've not specifically anything on nightmares. I've got how to cure wet dreams, but nothing specifically about nightmares. I do have a book on how to cook up a spell to make somebody talk in their sleep, but nothing about nightmares."
Well, what do you guys think you're gonna do here while you're here? Just relaxing or seeing the sights?
There's not really many sights to see, says Wander. But a relaxing tour of the middle of nowhere was always good for one's health. I think the air certainly is better here than in Tartec capital city. So, I think Giselle wants to spread some of her books around and try to ask the populace if they've ever opened a book in their lives, whereas I will be content to sit by the fire here and smoke a pipe and maybe take a walk around town for the next couple days.
Oh, that sounds good. So we'll probably run into you.
Yes. If you need anything, we'll be here. Giselle says, if you want a book, then come to me. Good reading here.
Yeah, I might take you up on that. Okay. Let's go check on how's Claudia doing? She's probably getting shit-faced here.
Claudia has finished her whiskey and slams it down on the table and is like, "Bartender, I could use another one. And then she looks at you as you come over and says, well, Lester, how was it? Did you enjoy getting a face full of those tits? You got sheep tits in your mouth and other tits in your face and tits everywhere. Bartender! The barmaid's like, oh, you might have had a bit too much, milady. Tayron's like, oh, maybe you should lay off the alcohol. Claudia's like, get out of my face, country boy! Marvin's like, okay, one more. We'll give you the diluted version of the whiskey. And he pours a lot of water into this last one, a significantly smaller draught, and then gives it to her. And Claudia's like, so what are you here for, Lester? You got done looking at Big Tits McGee over there?
No, I was actually talking with one of the wizards, actually.
Oh, you got tired of the tits? So what did the wizard have to say?
No, they're just here. They're just here, passing through, and they're going to be here for a few days. So we might end up running into them.
Oh, how nice. She gurgles up a little bit and then swallows it. Oh God, I'm gonna be sick, Lester.
Yeah, I think it's probably time to call it a night.
Excuse me, where's the ladies' room in this joint? The bartender's like, oh dear. The barmaid's like, I'll take you there, dear, I'll take you there. And Claudia's like, oh God, the alcohol's got me, Lester. I'm sorry, I drank too much.
That's okay.
She, the bar mistress actually takes Claudia to a spot outside that they have specifically for people who are potentially sick. And so Claudia's out there. You can hear sounds that sound like retching. Tayron's like, well, she certainly had a lot to drink, sir. I can't really drink that much myself. It makes me red and itchy all over. Yet somehow I'm working at a bar. How do you like that, luck? Irony. Dramatic irony. That's what my brother would have called it. He always told me to drink more so I could become a man. But yeah, I can't. It gives me hives.
Well, we still appreciate it. It's okay. She's probably just had it's been a long day, you know.
Yeah, it has been a long day. So Marvin over here is like, hey, can I get you anything else, Lester?
Actually, I was gonna ask you about a wind-up walking toy that I happened to see at the orphanage.
Oh yeah, that old thing. How'd you come across? Oh yeah, I sold it to what was her name? Rosella, right? Yeah, the little girl at the orphanage. Yeah, she wanted to give it to her brother.
Yeah, it was really cool. I just happened to see it, and she happened to mention it came from you, and I was wondering if they had those for sale somewhere here in town.
Nah, it was that was given to me by an old geezer that stopped by the orphanage some time ago when I was a kid. His name was Geartinker, and he was an inventor from up north, I think. And he just had this way with machines. He created the best toys I've ever seen in my life. And so he was handing them out kind of like, just as gifts to the children. I was lucky enough to get my hands on that one. Like we had a huge fight like over who could get a toy from Geartinker, and I got a black eye keeping my hands on that one. But I kept it, all those years when I was in the orphanage. And then eventually I graduated out of the orphanage, and I took that with me as a memento. Yeah. I remember good old Hortense Brunscombe used to get a little annoyed because I'd always make that thing do backflips on her desk and knock over all the papers.
Yeah, that's amazing. There was one little boy who showed it to me in the orphanage. To be honest with you, is one of the few kids that actually seemed with it. Most of them seemed oddly sedated or something like that, or they almost seemed like robots themselves.
Yeah, so Mondo, that's Marvin's husband over here. He's busy cleaning up some of the dishes, and he turns towards you and he nods and he says, "I've never seen kids those good before in my life. Kids are supposed to be running around playing. Back when I'm from the north myself. I'm from the Tartec territory of Duma, and when I was a kid, we'd be out causing trouble and running in the streets and whatnot, and, orphans, kids with parents alike. It's strange how they're all so well behaved here."
Yeah, something not quite right about that. I take it probably wasn't that way when you were in the orphanage, right?
Yeah. Marvin nods his head and he says, "Yeah, when I was a kid, it was roughhousing, fighting, kids trying to sneak away from Hortense and make out in the cemetery, which is kind of morbid now that I think about it. But, small town, take what you can get."
Yeah. Well, the orphanage certainly is very nice. I mean, I heard it was renovated.
Marvin nods and says, "Yeah, it's that new guy, Albertus. He came in with money and turned the place real nice." Mondo, the black guy, comes over to you and nods and leans on the table. And so Mondo is the one that's he's from the territory of Duma, all right? And so he wasn't an orphan. And so Mondo looks you in the eye and says, "It's interesting, that guy, Albertus, he says he's from the north as well, the territories, and he made a lot of fortune in the mining industry there. And I gotta tell you, it makes absolutely no real sense why a guy who made his fortune in gold digging in the mines would suddenly come down here to, a small town and set up shop. But he said something about being real into real estate, and I honestly can't complain because he helped us refurnish the inn." Marvin's nods and says, "Yeah, we actually owe the guy some money. The Troglodyte's toe here was kind of struggling over the last couple weeks, and business hasn't been that much better even after the remodeling we were able to do with the money that Albertus lent us. He kind of, because he's in real estate, he let us kind of take out a loan, basically, and said that if we paid him back within 2 years, we'd be good, but business ain't been great lately. All the talk of the ghost of Aquaria, it's not exactly great for bringing in the tourists."
Yeah. But we were, when you guys were there guards, for the orphanage?
Marvin shakes his head. "No guards, no. That's a new one there, those guys that he brought in with him, I mean."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're guards, but they seem kind of like they're almost like security or something.
Mondo says, "They look like the typical kind of bodyguards that a mining magnate would have up in the north. Those types that have lots of money usually walked around with private security. It is strange to me that they're running a children's home now. But hey, what do I know? I just cook pork roasts." He goes back to cooking up some roast in the back and checking the oven. Marvin shakes his head and says, "Times are strange, Lester. I mean, I get nightmares too, and Hortense telling me something's wrong, and you're right, the orphanage seems strange, but I don't have any proof that anything's going weird around there, unfortunately."
Well, do you have any idea about what might be, it seems like a pretty standard small town, but what sort of bad stuff might be happening that she might be warning people about?
I honestly can't remember, because every time I wake up it's all blur. I just see Hortense's face, and then I can't really remember what happened in the dreams. I just know she's warning me about something bad. I mean, it's real hard to remember dialogue in a dream, Lester.
Yeah.
If you could find some way to, make it so that we could communicate with her, or I don't even know if that's possible. Find out what she's saying in these dreams. That would be real helpful, I think.
That's an idea.
I would like to show you now. I'll show you Marvin's character sheet. Yeah. So, along with his husband Mondo, Marvin runs the Troglodyte's Toe, an in-tavern combo, in one of Aquaria's more popular local hangout spots. Though actually I should probably say the only hangout spot. Marvin handles the bar and also takes care of the business side of running the place while Mondo works in the kitchen. Marvin has lived in Aquaria for nearly his entire life and was once one of Hortense Brunscombe's orphans. He too is seeing the kindly woman who once took care of him in his dreams, and it's been stressing him out. On top of this, he says business has been bad recently due to word of the grandmotherly ghost driving away potential customers. Marvin and Mondo both owe money to Albertus Allwright, the new owner of the town orphanage. And if business doesn't pick up soon, they'll be in a tight spot. Yeah, so they took money from him to, I guess, clean up the Troglodyte's Toe a little bit, but business hasn't been great. And I will show you Mondo. Yeah. Mondo is the cook of the Troglodyte's Toe and Marvin's partner. Originally a mine worker from the northern Tartec territory of Duma, he moved down to Aquaria about 2 decades ago in search of more hospitable climates and a quiet life. Now he cooks up a mean pork roast for the inn's many patrons, or at least he used to, back when the inn still had a steady flow of patrons.
Well... I'm thinking that maybe what we'll do before we turn in is maybe go introduce ourselves to this couple over here.
Yeah. As this couple is, as you think about introducing yourself to this couple, actually, Tehran comes over and is delivering one last drink to the guy, and then Tehran, in his ever-present grace, he trips. I'll make a check for Tehran to see exactly the extent of his misdemeanor here. Oh no, Tehran rolls a 19. Oh god. Okay, so Tehran trips, his legs get caught up in each other, and then the jug of sheep's tit that he's been carrying goes flying, and then goes splashing on the nice coat of this young man here. The guy lets out a howl, and then jumps up on the table and is like, "What the hell, man? You got my coat wet!" And then he whips it off, and then throws it on the table angrily and stamps his foot. He's like, "Listen, you gonna be able to pay for that, little man? I don't think Aquaria's got any dry cleaning services, or at least it didn't have any back when I used to live here. So you got money? That was custom made." Tehran is kind of crapping in his pants. He's like, "No, sir, I barely make minimum wage here." And then he looks back at Marvin, who is trying to, rushing over the counter to try to divert a disaster. And he's like, all right. Tehran, go out back. I'll handle this." And he's like, Marvin starts apologizing profusely to the customer. And he's like, "Okay, Quentin, calm down here. You know, Tehran, he's not the most dexterous boy in the book. Like, he didn't mean anything." And then the guy, whose name is apparently Quentin, he's like, "Jesus, Marvin, like, you're really hiring them from the gutter these days. Where'd you find this kid?" And then Marvin's like, "Look, we've got a wash in the back. I'll take your coat. Marvin will dip it in the wash, and the stains will be gone before you know it." And then Quentin is like, "It's not really about the stains. It's about teaching that dummy a lesson." And he's like, "Hey, kid, you best watch yourself, all right?" And then he pulls out a weapon, okay? He pulls out a staff, all right, from behind his back, and then he swings it around himself, nearly knocking into Marvin. Marvin's like, "Jesus, watch where you swing that thing." And the cool thing about this staff is actually it's like it's a 3-piece collapsible staff. Okay? He swings the 3-piece collapsible staff around his entire body and does like a spinning motion, then starts bouncing up and down on the table, kind of like a martial artist. Think like Bruce Lee, bouncing back and forth. And he like spins the staff around, does a fancy move, and then swings it back under his arm, and then makes a loud like sound like "Whatcha!" like that. He's like, that's right, you watch yourself over there, kid who can't manage to bring me a bottle of ale without falling on his face. Watch yourself or you'll be looking for a thrashing. Or my name's not Quentin Kadir. And then he seems to be like really hyper right now. Just like caught up in, you know, the hype of, you know, being up on the table, and then he just like can't stop moving for some reason. He just starts bouncing back and forth. He's like, it's been a long time since I had a good fight. Anybody want to fight me? And he starts making lots of noises. He's like, Wata! Weeha! Yippee! He just starts spinning his three-piece staff around like a maniac. The woman is like, all right, come on down, Quentin. You've had too much to drink. You don't want to expose the entire inn to your shenanigans. And Quentin's like, I can't help it. I'm just riling for a fight. Whatcha! And he just can't stop moving. Just bouncing back and forth. Super hyper. I don't know if you want to defuse the situation, try talking to him, or buy him a drink, or up to you.
Not particularly. I'm kind of enjoying the entertainment of him making an ass of himself.
Yeah, so actually he spots you and he jumps down from the table and is like, who are you? Fancy looking boy with fancy clothes. You want to fight? You like fighting?
Not really. No.
Sure. You don't want to scrap? 1, 2, 3?
No.
Whatcha! He like swings his staff like around you. It does a swoosh behind your head and then comes back behind him. He's like, come on, fight me. Punch me as hard as you can. I'm super hyper. I need to calm down. The woman comes up to him and is like, sorry, he gets like this sometime. It's a side effect from being a former pirate and getting into scraps on boats. He's like, I'm not a pirate anymore. Name's Quentin Kadir, adventurer for hire. And I'm here.
Really?
I'm here to kick some ass and take names and chew some gum, and I'm all out of gum, and the beer here tastes as bad as it ever tasted, and I'm riling for a fight, and I'm here to solve the problem of the grandmotherly ghost.
Yo, you too, huh?
That's right, me too. What do you know about it? What's your name, fancy boy?
My name is Lester.
Ah, Lester. That sounds like a pussy's name if I ever heard one. What's your last name? Fester? Lester Fester?
Yeah, whatever, something like that.
The young woman pushes him aside and is like, my name is Sybil. Sybil Starr. I am the colleague of good old Quentin here, and I apologize on behalf of him. Colleague? What the fuck, babe? I thought we were going out. Sybil's like, not when you're like this, we're not. And Quentin's like, traitorous! Treacherous women! He swings his staff around again. It's like, what the? And he just starts doing shadow boxing. Like, Sybil whispers to you, when he gets drunk, he likes to fight. He'll be good, just needs to sleep it off.
Could have used him a couple hours before. We got attacked by some barbarians coming down here.
Oh.
Would have been helpful to have Say's energy.
As you're talking, Marvin actually takes Quentin's jacket and is like, we'll be right back, we'll get this cleaned up for you. And he takes it in the back, he gives Tehran side-eye to keep himself out of trouble. Sybil's like, what kind of people attacked you?
I think they were maybe from the wildlands or barbarians, I think. Couldn't understand what they were saying, but they weren't friendly, that's for sure.
Quentin grins and makes a martial arts stance and thumbs his nose and is like, I fought barbarians before. Real good fighters. They just come at you with their axes and their hatchets. You gotta spin around and use their strength against them and disable them. You know, a couple hits to the kneecaps, a couple hits to the groin, smacks to the ears, and just he just, bouncing around. It's like, I just want to fight someone. Really want to fight someone. Really want to fight that kid in the corner. Messed up my jacket. Tehran's like, oh, gods preserve me. He begins hiding behind the counter. Sybil wraps an arm around Quentin to keep him from going nuts.
So, so you guys are here to figure out this whole nightmare thing too, huh?
Oh, hell yeah we are, says Quentin. Adventurers for hire, that's what we are. I used to be a pirate. And Sybil here, yeah, we met her on a ship. We were sailing through the red mists, and well, eventually we got tired of the pirating life and decided to become adventurers for hire, mercenaries. It pays pretty good. And so we've done all kinds of things. We fought barbarians in the wild lands. Helped rescue the daughter of a nobleman once, and just generally go around kicking lots of ass. You know what I mean? Just so much ass to kick. And now we're here. We're here to solve this mystery because I've been having weird ass dreams and I don't like it.
Oh, were you an orphan here?
Oh yeah, well? I used to be. Yeah, yeah. He looks distraught and glum for a minute. Sybil whispers to you, he doesn't like to talk about his orphanage here, or his orphanage days here. He used to be a Aquarian kid himself, kind of a country bumpkin, if you get my feeling. He's like, yo, what the hell, babe? Stop exposing my entire life to this Lester Fester here. And Sybil's like, yeah, he got picked on a lot as an orphan, and decided he was going to get big and strong and become a real man, a soldier of fortune, ran away, became a pirate, sailed under the famous J. Ellsworth for a while, and and then commandeered his own ship for a while, and then crashed it on the rocks by the island south of here, and he's like, yo, what the hell, woman? What the hell? What's the deal? Stop telling him everything.
Any relation to the J. Ellsworth map version?
Sybil looks at you and says, "Oh, you've gotten one of his. I hesitate to call them maps. They're more like parchments with squiggly lines on them that say things like 50 miles when it's actually 200 miles."
Yeah. Well, it's not drawn to scale, but.
Not drawn to scale. Yeah, we sailed under him, and let's just say that he. A navigator he was not. His official job on the ship was to provide a spellcasting support duty. He's a bit of a wizard also, but he fancied himself a cartographer, and let's just say his cartography skills weren't as good as his magic ones. He was a cool old man, says Quentin. He let me smoke his pipe when I was 14. It was badass, real badass. He goes off the shadow box in the corner. He's like, "What-ha? What-ha?"
Huh. I've heard a lot about that guy over the years.
Yeah, says Sybil. He tends to pop up in the most unexpected places. He's led an interesting life. He served as our captain for a bit when the original captain of our ship was killed. But then one day he just disappeared. We don't know if he accidentally fell overboard one day or if he got attacked by sea serpents. It was weird, and I haven't seen him since. Funny old man.
Well, yeah.
Quirky
I just kind of know him from. Yeah. Well, I first learned about it from the map, but then I've heard random stories about him here and there.
So, Lester, you're here to solve this mystery as well, right? Trying to find out.
Yeah, we've been here a couple hours. Yeah. The boy in the corner hired us. He found us in the capital city. And he said,
"That dude hired you?" says Quentin.
Yeah.
What are you, a detective?
Yeah, actually, I am.
Oh, well then I guess we just need to see which one of us solves this case faster, huh, Lester Fester? Yeah. What do you fight with? You got a sword?
Sometimes.
You got a staff?
Ooh.
You wanna fight me? Let's fight! I just wanna fight. Oh, I'm so fight hungry.
Who hired you guys?
We weren't hired by anyone. I'm just here because I'm an adventurer for hire. I'm hoping that someone would hire me, but it seems that they decided to go with you. Why, I don't have any idea, when I am actually an Aquarian myself, and everybody here knows me, but, Marvin said that I'm not exactly the most reliable person, so he's not going to pay me money to have me solve any mystery. And I think that is ageist, because when I was a kid here, and the pranks that I used to pull when I was still a kid here, they should no longer be held accountable against me. Right, Sybil? And Sybil's like, actually, I think ageist is used to refer when it's like discriminatory against an old person. And she's like, what the hell, babe? You're supposed to be on my side.
Well, where are you guys staying? Are you guys staying here?
Yes, we are, says Sybil. We've got a room upstairs.
Yeah, I guess we'll stay here too.
Oh, great. We can compare notes, I guess, and then we can see which one of us solves this case faster.
Well, let me ask you, like, we just came from the orphanage. That is a weird place.
Yo, man, it is fucked up. The people there, like, those new guys that they brought. See, when I was a kid, it was just the old lady. And she was, she was a nice old lady. She would always get mad at me because I would do things like I'd steal her granny panties and I'd turn them inside out. Or one time I knocked over all the apples in the orphanage orchard. Oh, yeah, sorry, the orphanage orchard. And a couple other times I would put frogs under the tables. But yeah, she was, she was a human being. The people there now, they ain't human. At least they don't seem to be.
There were maybe 2 kids that seemed like normal, and the other ones seemed like they were high or like sedated or something. It was very weird.
Well, says Quentin, I'm all for drug use at a young age, but from what I saw from afar, the kids weren't looking that good. I'm not sure what to do. I don't have any leads. I was thinking maybe I'd just storm the place and start fighting those guys, but Sybil told me it would be a bad idea.
Well, those guys, we were just walking in there, they told us to take a tour, like, to, walk around, but then these guys kept following us. It was really kind of weird. All the kids were afraid of them.
Yeah, says Sybil, I didn't grow up here, but from what I can see, those children look like they're under some kind of duress. I've seen kids, kids that have been sold into slavery and stuff like that, and those kids in the orphanage look like they were slaves, not real children.
Yeah.
She shakes her head sadly. And Quentin finally seems to be coming down from his energetic high. And he's like, God damn, I'm real tired now all of a sudden. Anyway, yeah, it sucks. I'm not a fan of the orphanage now. It's different from where I grew up. And I told myself I'd never really come back to Aquaria, and that the world had better things for me, but here I am, and I see that I've got a problem to fix here, and I won't stop until I fix it.
Huh.
Wait,
Well,
what's your? Where are you from, Lester? You're not. You didn't grow up here, yeah?
No, I'm from the capital.
You mean Tartec, the capital?
Yeah.
Ah. Quentin gets suddenly kind of quiet and subdued and says, I haven't been there for a long time. I'm kind of, tell me, Lester, today, you didn't happen to, you've lived in the capital for all your life, maybe?
Yeah.
You don't, happen to remember, are there still wanted posters up on the walls with my face on them? You haven't heard my name before, have you?
Nope. I think you're good.
Ah, he turns to Sybil. I wonder if I am good. I think the statute of limitations is still another year. Sybil shakes her head and says, Quentin here ran into some trouble in the capital city when he was a kid. He ran away from Aquaria when he was 13 and enjoyed the big life of the capital, but then something happened. He won't even tell me. Quentin's like, I'll tell you when the statute of limitations is up and I'm finally able to go back into the capital as a safe man instead of a wanted one.
Well, there's some people that owe us. So if you need something, I mean, we might be able to see what we can do for you.
Well, that's good. I ain't been back to Tartec for 9 years.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know if you're missing much, but some parts are kind of shitty.
Well, I've seen the world. I've sailed the seas. I've seen the islands. I've even been to the fairy chateau down south. You're right. It's Tartec ain't shit really, but it stinks to know that well, at least when I left, people were out there looking for me, and there were wanted posters with my name on there. I think I got 1 more year, and then I'll be able to set back foot in there.
Yeah.
Sybil sighs, says, a man of a shadowy past, this one. A shadowy, dark past. She pats Quentin on the shoulder. She's like, that's right, babe. I'm a shadowy bastard. What ha?
Uh, well,
Actually, as you're talking, Claudia finally stumbles back in. The barmaid leads her back. Claudia looks like a wreck. She got bags under her eyes, and she looks like she's thrown up all the sandwiches that you ate earlier this day. She wanders over to you and kind of falls on your arm. Is like, Lester, I can't do this.
Oh, well, we probably should get going, but I just wanted to introduce you. This is my assistant, Claudia.
Quentin's like, what's up, babe?
Quit.
How you doing? And Sybil does a curtsy.
And funnily enough, Quentin was actually from Aquaria and is also taking it upon himself to figure out the cause of these nightmares.
That's damn right, Quentin said. We can be like rivals. Every good adventurer needs a rival. You and me, Lester Fester, and then this chick here with my chick here. Yeah, we can duke it out. He like slaps one fist into his other hand, and he's like bouncing, still bouncing on his toes. And Claudia's like, oh God, stop moving so much. You're making my head hurt. Oh, pleased to meet you, Quentin. I would shake my hand, but it was recently in my mouth, pulling up my internal organs and everything that I ate today, so I don't think you want it right now. And then she turns to Sybil and is like, oh, it's you! Tits McGee! Oh! I want nothing to do with you. Sybil's like, oh, I detect a hint of jealousy. And Claudia's like, oh, fuck you, too! Tits McGee, you ain't shit! Hubert,
okay.
come out of the bag! Come out of the bag and take a shit on her! She forces, she's grabbing at the bag and she's like pulling Hubert the lamb like halfway in and out of the bag. Hubert seemed to have been asleep, and Hubert's like, bah! And doesn't want to get out of the bag. And Quentin jumps back. He's like, good God, that's the strangest dog I've ever seen.
Yeah. Let's just say there's a lot you haven't seen. So about Claudia. So, but we probably should be
What the fuck does that mean, Lester? Says Claudia, looking at you with drunk eyes. What do you mean there's a lot he hasn't seen about me?
Yeah. Well, a lot of we'll start over again tomorrow.
I'm the best detective assistant you can ask for, Lester. Oh, God.
Meant it as a compliment. Let's get you to bed.
Do you love me, Lester? I saved your life so many times.
You have.
Lester. Quinn's like, yo, the babe wants your dick, Lester Fester. Get it in tonight. Sybil's like, Quentin, we gotta go to bed too. She begins leading Quentin upstairs. And Quentin's like, yo, Lester, if you want to fight later on tonight, knock on my door.
Sounds good.
We can take it outside, just in case you want to fight.
Yeah, okay. If I can't sleep, I'll hit you up.
You better! He lets out one last "Wata!" And then Sybil takes him upstairs. As he lets out the "Wata," he spins the collapsible staff around, almost knocks over a book on the wizard's desk, and wanders like, good God! The youth these days! And so they go upstairs.
Okay. Wow. That guy's a puss. All right, let's see. Where's let's check in with Tehran here. Tehran?
I'm starting to see triple, moans Claudia. The barmaid actually says, I'll help her get upstairs, okay?
That would be great. Thank you very much. I'll be up in just a second.
Okay. The barmaid takes Claudia upstairs, and you can hear Claudia moaning something about how Tits McGee is gonna die, so on and so forth. Tehran is behind the bar, and he's like, "Wow, sir, the effects of inebriation surely are potent. That guy Quentin over there, he scares me. I guess he's what my brother would call a real man."
I don't know about that. More like a real putz, but
I think him and my brother knew each other when they were kids. I think I was too young, so I don't really remember, but I think they used to scrap and trade the fisticuffs. I'd like to trade fisticuffs, too.
Well, it's not all it's cracked up to be, but you don't have to take it from me. But maybe he might be different when he's not inebriated. So as you put it yourself, the inebriation has some potent effects. So
that staff of his is cool, though. The way he swings it and goes like "Wha-ha!" and Tehran swings a spoon and almost pokes his eye out.
Oh, well, yeah, like I was telling him, it sure would have been helpful to have his energy when we were being attacked.
Marvin comes out with the clean jack, and he's like, "Oh, where'd he go? Is Quentin upstairs?"
Yeah, he went to bed.
Oh, I'll put this outside his door. That kid was always a bundle of trouble. I can't believe he came back.
Yeah, he's taking it on himself to do the same thing as me, I guess, to figure out what's causing.
Yeah, says Marvin. He came bustling in here just yesterday, actually. We ain't seen him in years. Didn't even recognize him. He's gone and slicked his hair and grown a six-pack and muscles and got a hot girl on his arm. That's for dating above his weight class, in my opinion. And so he goes upstairs to give the jacket. And Tehran's like, "Sir, I wish I had a hot girl on my arm, too."
Well, I think you will.
Oh, the only girl that I've ever spent intimate time with are the horsies. Oh, that sounds wrong. Sorry, I didn't mean it in that way. But yeah, looks glum.
Well, Tara, it's been a long day, so I just came to say goodnight and say that we'll see you in the morning.
Oh yeah, absolutely, sir. I have a room upstairs too. If you have trouble sleeping, knock on my door. I got the potent medicines that can put you right to bed.
Okay, all right. Well, I've got a wealth of options. If I can't sleep, I can go fight Quentin, or I could come see you and get something to make me shit-faced. So, sounds good.
Mondo lets out a chuckle. He's come out of the kitchen again and says, "Actually, it's Tehran you want to watch out for. He snores like the devil, and he talks in his sleep, too."
Oh. Well, it should be an interesting night.
Ha! Welcome to Aquaria, says Tehran.
Thank you.
All types here in this inn.
Yeah, that's an interesting day. Good night, guys.
Good night. Marvin comes back downstairs and then says, "Oh, Lester, yeah, Claudia's in the room upstairs. You got the room next to hers. She's already fast asleep. I think you can hear her snoring. And then we'll be going to bed soon. Those elderly folk over there, they've also gotten a room. And then Quentin and Sybil are upstairs as well. So we actually, we have a pretty full house tonight, surprisingly. Yeah, so... if you need anything, let me know. Me and Mondo are up late, but we'll retire by about 1 a.m.
Okay.
And then the tavern reopens bright and early at 6:30. And if you need anything, just holler. There'll be breakfast in the morning, and as I said, it's on the house for you guys.
Appreciate your hospitality.
Because I think you guys, you're established detectives, and I think you actually might have a chance of solving this case. Quentin, he's the type of guy that'll whip his staff around. I don't even know where he got that thing. He'll whip it around and smack some skulls, but I don't know if he actually got the brain power to solve anything. I feel like his energy could be channeled to something positive. If you need help, you might want to look into getting him to assist you, if possible.
Yeah, I did have maybe I'll talk to him tomorrow when he's not inebriated.
Yeah. Well, he still likes fighting even when he's sober. He was always like that as a kid.
Oh.
And another thing, the boy Tehran, he does talk a lot in his sleep. Now, I don't know if he's gonna have one of those Hortense Brunscombe dreams, but it might be worth monitoring him at night to see if, I don't know, if he lets anything slip. A possibility.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah. I sleep like a rock. That's what Mondo says. But Tehran, one time we caught him sleepwalking, walking in like he was sort of just walking on a cycle in the hallway. So, and muttering to himself. And hey, something. It's a possible clue, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, thanks for the tip. I don't know if I'll be awake enough to do it tonight, but it's one of these nights.
Yeah.
Probably is a good idea to do that.
All right, you enjoy yourself, Lester.
Okay, thank you.
All right, see you later.
Thanks for your hospitality. Good night. All right. Well, I'm gonna say goodnight to the wizards. Good night, guys.
Good night, Lester, says Giselle. They're reading a book about the barbarians.
Well, that probably would have come in handy a couple hours ago.
Would you like to look at it?
Actually, my eyes are already closing, so perhaps tomorrow.
All right. Have yourself a good night, Lester.
Yeah. Okay,
All right,
let's go upstairs.
Yeah, you go upstairs. Let me just set the room up. All right, you go upstairs, and you are in the upper level of the Troglodyte's Toe right now. It should be loading for you.
Okay.
All right. So you see it? You see everything?
Yep.
All right. So, I think I'm just putting everyone in their rooms. Yeah. So you're in the upper level of the Troglodyte's Toe, and then if you see the map, you can walk through if you want. But Claudia's got a room right here. You've got a room right here next to her, the bigger one. You can hear sounds of Quentin and Sybil talking to each other in the room up here. They probably undressing and getting ready for bed. And you can hear sounds of like, I just really want to fight someone. Yeah. Just while we're here, I'll just share you this. Yeah. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah, Quentin Kadir, a professional adventurer for hire, is loud, hyperactive, and cannot stop bouncing around, yelling at the top of his lungs and swinging his weird weapon, a three-piece collapsible staff, around like a maniac. He acts like he's just drank a whole pot of King Darian's immortality potion. A former Aquarian who used to live in Hortense Brunscombe's orphanage when he was a child, Quentin ran away for the big life of Tartec when he was 13. He encountered some trouble there, I'm guessing he ran afoul of the law, and became a pirate and then a mercenary. He says he hasn't set foot in Tartec for the last 9 years, and this is actually his first time back in Aquaria since he ran away. He too has been visited by Hortense Brunscombe in his dreams, and he wants to get to the bottom of this bizarre mystery. And I'll show you Sybil. You see her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sybil is Quentin's girlfriend, or something. The two of them met while sailing around the sea of red mists with Jay Alsworth, former buccaneer. Funny how that fellow's name always seems to keep popping up. Sybil is calm, composed, and a far cry from the over-the-top antics of her boyfriend. I wonder how she puts up with him. She seems pretty nice, but I can tell Claudia doesn't like her that much because of chest envy, I guess. Interesting couple.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
So you're gonna retire?
Sounds good.
No, check. Oh, you can hear Claudia snoring away soundly.
Yeah, check it on Claudia. Look at her door. Is the door closed?
You can peek open. You can see her. She's slumped, like, face down in the bed. Hubert is out of the bag of holding and curled up next to her, sleeping as well. And she sounds like, just like a thunderstorm, like... She's like, Rest! You stay away from that tits, McGee! In her... As she rolls back and forth, but she's asleep.
Okay. I'll cover her up with the blanket.
She mumbles as you cover her up in the blanket. She's like, stupid tits, Maggie.
Okay, alright. I think it's time to go to bed.
Alright.
For a little bit, anyway.
Yeah. So, what do you, as you, go into bed, actually, and, prepare yourself for a good night's sleep, you've been through a heck of a day and experienced quite a lot, okay? And you're in the midst of a new case, and you've got new challenges awaiting you and new mysteries to solve, alright? And you feel kind of bolstered by the new experience that you've gained over the course of the day as you slip into your sheets in the nice warm bed, okay? You actually level up. Yeah. So, one thing that I decided to do, Josh, is that previously I was giving you experience points for, like, defeating enemies and stuff like that. I'm going to switch over to, like, story-based level progression. Which is another option, because I think it makes more sense for us, since the campaigns are actually less heavy on combat and more heavy on story progression anyways.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah, and I think you personally should have leveled up at the end of last campaign, but I think your experience points were not quite enough yet. You're at 6,450 out of 6,500 at the moment, but basically what I'm going to do from now on is that once you reach new critical points in the story, I'll have you level up.
Okay.
Which is just an alternate way of doing it, but it has to be after you. It has to be after you have a rest, like a long rest.
Okay.
Yeah, and a long rest is usually about 6 hours minimum.
Okay.
Yeah. Because as you sleep and then you reflect on the events of the day and you become, you gain strength, as happens when you sleep. So on your character sheet right now, I'm just getting rid of the little experience points thing. And I'm making you're going to be level 5. I'm just going to edit this right now. Yeah, you are level 5 now. Okay.
Okay.
And let me just check to see what abilities you get at level 5. You do get a bit stronger in certain things, which should be good. Let's see. Oh, okay. So, right now at level 5, you see this part on your character sheet that says proficiency bonus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so previously that was a 2, okay? So now it's a 3. Alright? And so what this means is that if you look down at your saving throws and your skills, okay, you look at these little numbers.
Oh, yeah, some of these are more,
Yeah, so the numbers are the modifiers that you add, to the roll, okay? And so any roll that you're proficient in, you basically get a proficiency bonus +1, okay?
Right.
And so previously, like things like deception, history, and insight were all 3, but now they're 4 because your proficiency bonus just increased with level up. So now these rolls are even better in, like if you want to perceive something, you get to add a +4 to whatever it is. And other things like medicine is also +4. You can potentially like make your own like healing salves and stuff like that, if you so choose. Okay. So yeah, there you have that, and then you have, I believe, you have an HP boost. Okay. So what you can do is, for your HP boost, you can either take 5 plus your Constitution modifier, which is a 1. So that's plus 6 hit points. Or if you want to, instead of taking 5, you can roll a 1d8 and see what number that gives you. Up to you.
Gotcha.
So it's either take 5 plus Constitution modifier of 1, which is 6, or leave it to chance, roll 1d8, and then take whatever number that is plus 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Wait, do you want me to pick right now?
Yeah, just do it right now so that we
I'll do the. I'll leave it to chance.
Oh, do the chance. Okay, roll me 1d8.
All right.
Oh, 5. All right.
5.
It's basically what it would have been if you had picked the standard one. So 5 plus your Constitution modifier is 6. You get 6 extra HP. So right now you are 25 plus 6. You're at
31.
31, yeah. You have a 31 max hit points. Pretty good. And then your current hit points is also 31. Very good. You now have 5 hit dice as well. Hit dice, if you remember, are used for short rests. If you ever need to recover HP, you can take a short rest and use a hit dice. And then the very last thing you gain at level 5 is a special ability. Alright, this one's kind of cool. I'm just going to add it in your abilities thing at the bottom. I'll type it out for you right now. It is called Uncanny Dodge. Alright. And let's see. It's basically when an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to halve the attack's damage against you. Yep. Which is extremely handy. Yeah.
Source. Racial. Got some racial stuff.
Oh, sorry, I actually changed it. That should be...
class?
This should be, class. Human Rogue, 5th level. Yeah. There you go. Yep. Uncanny Dodge. When an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to halve the attack's damage against you. I'll move this one up so that it's with your other fighting ones right there. Alright.
Okay.
So that'll come in very handy when you're getting attacked on all corners, actually. Reaction is basically it happens instantly. You don't need to. You can take an action afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can basically instantly halve damage, which is pretty good, as long as you can see the attacker. Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so there you go. Claudia will get her own level 5 stuff, but that is you for now. And you're getting stronger and becoming a better detective, bit by bit. As long as you figure out how to solve this newest strange mystery in the countryside, you'll be well on your way to being a greater detective than your father, potentially.
Sure he'll like that.
Alright, so you close your eyes and stumble under the sheets, and that's a good place to end it for today.
Yeah.
What do you think your priority will be next time?
Good question. I guess we'll talk with Quentin.
You have a couple options. You can talk with Quentin and Sybil.
We also have to meet with the little girl from the orphanage.
You have to meet with the little girl from the orphanage.
You may try to sneak into the orphanage. And the other thing would be to try to, I guess, catch some people when they're sleeping, maybe to try to observe them. The other thing...
You could also observe... You could maybe start with observing Tehran. Maybe wait and see what... Maybe wake up a little bit earlier than everyone else and try to poke around and listen in to see if you can catch anyone's dream whispers.
Yeah.
And you can always ask the wizards for help also.
Yeah. Maybe they might be able to help with, I don't know, some kind of spells or magic to allow me to enter the dreams or I don't exactly know if we can do that.
Maybe here, or I don't know. Maybe speak with the old lady herself.
Maybe use the shadow in the moonlight spell to get some invisibility.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one.
To sneak around. I don't know.
So yeah, you have a very motley crew of people in the inn. Actually, quite a lot of people to potentially help you out.
Okay.
As you drift off to sleep, you hear one final "Wata!" from down the hall. Almost as if a head just plopped down into a feather pillow and just needed to release one last sound effect before sleep.
Okay.
All right. So it's bedtime now, and we will pick up next time.
Yes, bedtime for us too.